We got a real hardball game here. So none of these lights were allowed to die, which is almost impossible when you have a bunch of mediums around and 2 lances on the enemy side. Well, you only know about the social system in theory, you don't really know if it's good or not in reality.
Coordinates received. Roger, Commander. I've got the shot.
Well, where are you from?
Standing by.
Would you like to tell me where you're from? Yeah, I might not know anything of your system. Oh, United States, okay. Well, what I've heard is that you have social security, as in, if you lose your job, you get welfare. Is correct. If you get, if your employer makes you quit, he's the one making the employment end. You will have the rights to welfare, right? But you have a social network as well. I've read. Maybe it's different depending on what state you're in. But what I've read in America, if you lose your job, you get welfare. If you quit yourself, then you don't get welfare. Okay, so it has to come out of the pocket of the company. I made a Google search that said different ones, but maybe it changes with the who is in the politics. Let's see. You say there's no law requiring us to give us anything after we get laid off. I read that one. That's probably California or possibly New York. So different welfare system depending on state, I guessed right. Google, no. Companies are not generally required to reimburse you just because you lost your job, but you are entitled to reimbursement for certain unpaid wages. Benefits and other compensations like unused vacation time, depending on the circumstances. However, there are specific situations where you could be owed money, such as if a layoff was in violation of a WARN Act, or if the company owes you for expenses you paid on their behalf. All right. Well, in Sweden we have different types of welfare. Yeah, it's like, well, in Sweden has support systems, but mostly you're doing everything yourself. So it's personal responsibility is big in Sweden. So it's a give and take. You do get a lot, but the system expects you to try as well. You can, if you if you screw up too much, you will get like in worse and worse situations. We still have people that are like homeless and stuff. People say that we don't have homeless, and that's not true. Because you might you will be homeless for a time until you get the support you need, and the system can be unfair in a way that if you have money, you can be the lowest form of welfare in Sweden comes out of the city you live in. So the lowest level. If you don't get your money from there, it's usually from the state. And if you don't get from the state, you get from the city. And if you don't get from the state, and you have, let's say you've been saving money, or you own something that is worth a lot of money, then they expect you to sell those things and live off the money until you're broke. So the support system is there, but it's unevenly distributed. So the best type of welfare is given to handicapped people in Sweden. So if you're handicapped, you get the safest welfare. You don't have to buy the services you need for your handicap. They all get rented or paid by everybody else. And this can be assistance, equipment, it can be transportation. If you're handicapped in Sweden, they throw money at you. It's like a money dump. It's totally backwards. Like, you have people who could like start companies and stuff, who could get the same amount of money and actually do something that would benefit the country. Like the way we do things now, like we put everything on expenses. We just build up more and more expenses. And that's the only people that's good for is the ones who try to capitalize on people's desperate situation. Well, I'm just saying it's not perfect, and if people move away, it's like if the economy fails, the system fails. So you have a belief that our system is perfect in a way, but it's not. If the system would collapse with the economy, so it's we build up things on theoretical fluff of money that we don't know if we will have in the future. If the money goes away, everything will fall apart. Let's see what you say. I would much rather the German model welfare, but the Nordics would be a huge push. I understand nothing is perfect. No, I am not at all. Well, the thing is that it's only good if you get. It's not good if you pay. And then you also have all the schemers that tries to get the money. Like if you let's say you're handicapped or old and your body fails you, and you're in need of all these things. Basically, you're desperate and forced to vote for any party that supports this system that takes the workers' money and takes care of you, while you will never ever be supporting the system back ever again. So if you have supported the system and like gotten injured, then it's good. But if you are a person that ruined your own health by stupidity, you're basically a leech, and then you have other leeches leeching off you while everybody else has to pay for your leeching. So it's not like you feel like this is so great, It's not like you think, oh, I want to die instead. Of course, no one would think that, but it's not like fair in any manner. It's not fair against the ones paying. It comes out of the workers' pocket, not the rich ones. The rich ones only help out when the state gives funds to the regions or the city. Then the rich people's taxes comes into play. If you get welfare in Sweden, it's mostly, if it's not state, then it's all coming out of the workers' pocket. Yeah, that sucks. Sounds horrible. In America, you have to pay insurance, $5,000 for wisdom teeth removal. It would have been around $15,000 for it if I didn't have insurance. Yeah. Yeah, well, the teeth thing is out. We still have a good system for healthcare, but the quality of the system itself might not be highly great. Like, we have a lot of capacity, but it's not pristine, so to speak. We don't have like perfection. We have people that do their best. If you understand. If you go to the hospital, it's a little bit of a gamble if you get someone good. Who's working today? It's not just dental care, it's also hospitals. You go into debt if you go to the hospitals. It could ruin your life if you're not careful here. Yeah, that is. You would basically be forced to take out a loan, I guess. 1,500,000 is that is a lot of money, but you could take out a loan for that if you have a stable job. But it depends on how sick you are, I guess. But if yeah, I get you. But what you don't understand is that, like, where I live in Sweden, for example, my region, it's already bankrupt. So what happens when a region is bankrupt is that everybody else has to pay for that region's. If we're broke, then every other region needs to jump in and pay if they are on the good side of things. So our system can collapse, and when it collapses, everything that we are keeping alive will die. So it's like a growing, horrible situation. So you might have people that die when they are broke, or like the sickness grabs them and they can't afford the help, whilst we have a shitload of unhealthy people that's surviving. And if the system fails, then we will have all the old folks home, or the homes where they take care of handicaps. They will be unfunded, and then they will just be there and die from people not working anymore, or the medicines are not coming there. You understand? So when it actually does fall, it's gonna be like a wipe. Let's see what you say. 35.9 million people as of 2024 live in poverty in America, of course. Surely the European Union would help if Sweden was in crisis. The European Union is based on its economy, so it's trade, and so it's mostly private sector, not it's private sector, and also it's trying to steer the country's laws in a certain direction. So it became more of the same. So they put guidelines then the countries needs to use those laws as guidelines to form their own laws, to imitate them or work in an acceptable fashion in the direction of the European law. So it's a political system built by the private sector. That's the European Union. Whilst Sweden is a national state. So Sweden is a country, its own country. It's only a member of the European Union. So it's a member country, not a member state. It's wordplay really, but to make sense of it. European Union might have infrastructure help, maybe, but it's not a perfect system. Like it's the countries. You have countries that grab money, and then you have countries that pay money, and Sweden is one of those who have been paying more than they get from the union, whilst we have been taking care of a bunch load of refugees as well in incredible numbers for our size, which has made my home very different. Let's see. It's not only the high costs of that, it's also the costs of everyday life. Now it's very, very bad here now, but the debt crisis here gets worse and worse every day. 400 million to 15 billion a day is lost. I don't know how money gets lost. I thought money only switched pockets. But you might be right, I don't know. I don't live in America. But Sweden is not better. We're basically half as rich as we were 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the salaries were about the same. The salaries might have gone up 20%. About 20%. But the rents and the food prices are doubled. So we have gotten poorer here as well. So people were richer 20 years ago than now. At least on the lower levels. Like if you have a low to medium income employee. Your life has gotten worse because of expenses. So far I haven't noticed any more than the NATO flag and the increase of the military. Increased funds to the military. So I haven't been... It's not like it's... I think the NATO thing has been positive in that we actually got to... People in Sweden have been so peace-oriented that it's almost like they're stupid. They think that if they have nice opinions and are nice to other people, that no bad things will happen to them. So they voted to disarm so that we would look peaceful and then people wouldn't attack us. Well, it's a matter of diplomatic relations. So Turkey's leadership needs to be loyal to their citizens, and their citizens might have had issues with us. And one of the issues they had with us was that Sweden was... we were taken in and protecting Kurds that were from terrorist organizations. So we have been a safe harbor for terrorists in the eyes of Turkey. So that was the problem, that they wanted to show how displeased they have been over Sweden protecting Kurds from Turkey. Because it's been like a civil war thing with we saved terrorists for some reason. It's weird. We also have ISIS warriors in Sweden, so it's kind of fucked. Who we take in. It's like crazy in a way. Turkey has always been a roaring state, trying to flex its muscle, but I understand that. ISIS? Yes, we have had ISIS warriors that has gone and fought in Syria, and even some have come back even. We had a politician that said that we needed to rehabilitate them. And you can't rehabilitate someone if they're religious or have. But I think it was in the numbers of 200 of them. Yeah, it's we have more than ISIS warriors to deal with in Sweden. It's like we have a giant problem with criminal organizations. The amount of money that is in the criminal sector is huge. They barely know how to deal with it, and they're implementing new strategies to deal with them at the moment. This last mandate has been nothing but trying to deal with the criminals and the enormous wealth they sit on, because they're recruiting children and stuff. And then you also have all these extreme groups that has moved in with the immigrants. We have a population of almost 11 million, and 2 million of those are immigrants from the Middle East, kinda. Maybe not all of them, but a big portion of them. At least, the number is 2 million, at least, of immigrants. So it's just, we have taken in too many. Like, I barely recognize the logic and the culture and how you have to behave socially. Like, the immigration has... we have freedom of speech and stuff like this, but the people who immigrate here wants us to change to their benefit. So it's kind of backwards. So it's like they're here to like convert or change us, not be part of Sweden. Yeah, it's been in Germany as well, and I think it was... what other country was it? I think it was a third one as well that had drones. Let's see what you say. Blah, blah, blah. Is corruption bad in Sweden? Question mark. At least they are trying. Did you hear the Russian drones? Oh, I missed those before. Well, corruption in Sweden. Corruption in Sweden isn't. It's not distant. But it's I would say you have it in the private sector, that they are they have been using people who are desperate, immigrants or paperless people. So you have people who are being used as workers incorrectly and unfairly to our laws. And then they can also use them because they don't know when the company is breaking laws or not. So by having immigrants, Sweden loses its observation, because you have a bunch of people who only care about money. They're here working. They're not here. They're not trying to report their employers and stuff like this. So it's almost like you have people trying to run their companies a bit crooked just because it's easier and they don't have to be competent if they cheat. And it's easier when you have immigrants that don't know better. But we are trying, this past mandate, there's been a lot of laws and changes trying to prevent stuff and trying to update the system to work better. But it's having problems. Some parts would be considered to be corruptions, but it's not, because it's almost been implemented into like a part of the system. Because when you have taxes, it usually goes to city organs, regional organs, or agencies for the state. Now we have private companies that get yearly money from taxes. So it's basically corruption, but it's not, because that's how the system is run. And there's a bunch of laws and rules that gives the people options to choose, and also a fairness in when official a city or a region or a state buys something, they have to buy fairly, so they can't choose that they only buy from your company. Now they have to split up, so they buy 10% from you, 10% from this person, 10% from that person. So they have to like make it everything they buy needs to be fair to everybody that sells. So you can't really make it not corrupt. But when you see corruption, it's usually people who takes money that they are not they're not allowed to have. So they are welfare fraud is huge. They take money that they are not allowed to take because they are living outside of they're not living in Sweden, they're living in their home country, but they're reporting their activities online. And then they get a bunch of money that they shouldn't have been given. So they're on vacation on welfare kind of stuff. There's a bunch of levels of corruption in Sweden, yes.